We talked about horizontal and vertical slices in class. So this right here is considered a square or a cube. This right here is a rectangular prism. So if you slice a square horizontally, I'm sorry, this is vertically, what shape will you get out of this slice? Now, same thing here. If we slice this vertically, what shape will you get? Make sure that when you write it out, you write out the word and you also draw the shape. Okay? One more example is a triangular prism. Something like this. So if you were to slice this horizontally, you would have the shape of the base. And what's the shape of the base? Just a little hint right there. Now if you're doing it vertically, what's the shape of the side? Just a little hint right there. So the question you guys have on page 318 says that you guys have to do number 1, number 2, and number 3. I'm telling you right now, do not waste your time on number 3. If I sat here and explained that to you, it would take literally like 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm not going to do that. I want you guys just to get the basic shapes. So it's asking you for surface area, and surface area is the exterior or the outside of something. So let's say we're talking about a book. We're not talking about everything inside, we're just talking about the cover in a sense. Let's say we're talking about, I don't know, a soccer ball. We're talking about the measure of the exterior of the soccer ball. We're not talking about anything inside. Or like a purse. We're talking about the measurements of the outside of the purse, not everything that's inside of the purse. So when we're talking about surface area, we're concerned about the area on the outside. So for this rectangular prism, we have the surface area is equal to 2 times the length times width plus 2 times the height times the width plus 2 times the length and the height. So this might look a little intimidating, but if you designate what your length is, what your width is, and what your height is, this becomes really easy. So 3 feet represents the height of this object. So we're going to label this our height. 2 feet represents the width, or how thick this is. So we will designate that as our W, or our width. The only thing that's left is our length, and we can clearly see that 7 represents the length of this object. So here's our L, or L. I just tend to write my L's in that way, in cursive. So if we have our surface area, we have 2 times the length times the width. So here's your length, and here's your width. So you can put this in parentheses. Your length is 7, and your width times 2 is 2. Plus, let's see what the next thing is. We have 2 times the height times the width. Your height is 3, and your width is 2. So you'll have 2 times the height, which is 3, times the width, which is 2. Plus 2 times the length times the height, and the length is 7, and the height is 3. Alright, some of you guys can compute this faster than I can explain it and write it. So now what's 7 times 2? 7 times 2 is 14. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, now we can easily distribute here. So what's 2 times 14? That's 28. Plus what's 2 times 6? 12. And what's 2 times 21? 42. Now you add those together, and that is your total surface area. So the surface area of a triangular prism is a little bit more complicated. It wants you to find the area of these rectangles and triangles. So if you look at it, you have 2 triangles. And how many rectangles? You have 1, 2, 3. So 3 rectangles. Sorry, my writing's a little sloppy. Well, it's always sloppy with these videos. It gives you the dimensions. It tells you that the base is 10 by 23 centimeters. And the height is 13 centimeters. So remember that the height of the triangle is given as well, and that's 12 centimeters. So this 13 represents the side length. I know I said it was height, but I meant side length. So the area of a triangle, remember, the area of every triangle is half of a square, so it's 1/2 base times height. And the area of a rectangle is just the length times the width, right? So our triangles, we have two of those, right? We have the base and we have the height. So the area of the triangles is 1/2, your base is 10, and your height is 12. Okay, so you can easily do that. What's 10 times 12? 10 times 12? 120. 120 times 1/2. Remember, you can use the strategy of just dividing it by 2 so that you can get your area to equal 60. So that means that we found the area for this triangle right here. So the area of that triangle is 60. But we also have this triangle over here. So that's equivalent. So that's 60 as well. So you already have 1, 2. You already have 2 pieces of what you need for your surface area. Now you just need to find the area of these 3 rectangles. So now we're going to find the area of those 3 rectangles. And you know that the area of a rectangle is just area equals length times width. So our area is going to be 23 times 13. So 23 times 13. And we have one in the back and 1 in the front. So we have 2 of those. So we can actually multiply this by 2. And that gets you 2 of your rectangles. And the last rectangle is this one at the bottom, which is going to be 23 times 10. And what's 23 times 10? 230. So if you compute this, you add it to your 60 and your 60, which is 120, and that's your total surface area. Like I said, this is very, very messy, and I apologize for how messy this is, but there's nothing I can do. It's just messy math. We'll review surface area when we come back, so don't feel like you have to memorize this right now. If you understood what I just did, good job. If you didn't, we'll review it anyways. Alright, Tigers, I hope this helped you for your geometry portion. Have a good spring break.